Just minutes ago, a decision inside the palace reportedly sent shockwaves through the highest levels of the monarchy. According to insiders, senior royals have quietly voted to exclude Queen Camilla from the upcoming Commonwealth Summit, one of the most important diplomatic events on the royal calendar. The decision was not announced publicly. It was delivered behind closed doors. But once the vote happened, the atmosphere inside royal corridors reportedly changed instantly. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. According to Palace Whispers, the meeting that triggered the decision was never meant to attract attention. It was scheduled quietly, placed among routine discussions about Commonwealth diplomacy and preparations for the next international gathering of member nations. These meetings usually follow a predictable rhythm: briefings, logistical updates, and discussions about representation. But this time, insiders say the tone shifted dramatically as concerns about who should represent the monarchy at the summit began surfacing in ways few expected. The Commonwealth Summit is not simply another ceremonial event. It is one of the monarchy's most visible international stages, where the royal family acts as a symbolic bridge between dozens of nations with complex political histories. Representation at the summit carries enormous weight. Every appearance, every handshake, every speech is carefully calculated to reinforce stability and unity. That is precisely why the alleged vote to exclude Camilla has stunned observers within palace circles. Reports suggest that the discussion quickly moved from logistical planning to something far more sensitive. Questions reportedly emerged about optics, diplomacy, and the evolving role of the monarchy on the global stage. Some voices inside the room are said to have argued that the royal delegation needed to be carefully structured for the modern political climate of the Commonwealth. Others reportedly insisted that altering long-standing representation traditions could send a dangerous signal about internal division. But once the possibility of a vote was raised, the atmosphere in the room reportedly became tense. Palace aides present during the discussion are said to have sensed immediately that the situation had moved into unprecedented territory. Votes among senior royals on matters of representation are extremely rare. The monarchy typically resolves such decisions through quiet consensus rather than formal divisions. Yet on this occasion, insiders claim the conversation had reached a point where consensus seemed impossible. When the confidential vote was finally called, the result reportedly surprised even some of those who had participated in the debate. The outcome allegedly concluded that Camilla would not be part of the delegation attending the summit. Within minutes of the decision, word began spreading quietly among palace staff. Corridors that usually buzz with routine preparation reportedly fell into uneasy silence as aides tried to process the implications. For many inside the palace, the shock was not simply about the outcome, it was about the fact that the vote happened at all. Camilla, after all, holds a position that represents years of carefully rebuilt public acceptance. Her presence beside King Charles has been presented as a symbol of stability after decades of controversy. To suddenly exclude her from one of the monarchy's most important diplomatic gatherings raised immediate questions. Those questions reportedly reached King Charles quickly. Sources suggest the king was informed shortly after the vote concluded, placing him in the difficult position of balancing personal loyalty with the institutional decision made by senior members of the royal household. At the same time, palace advisors reportedly began urgent conversations about how to manage the situation if rumors of the decision reached the outside world. Because in the modern age of royal scrutiny, secrets rarely stay hidden for long, and once whispers begin escaping palace walls, they tend to travel faster than anyone expects. But to understand why such an extraordinary vote could even happen, we need to look at the tensions surrounding Camilla's role inside the monarchy. For decades, Camilla's position inside the royal family has been anything but simple. From controversy during her early relationship with Charles to her gradual acceptance by the public, her journey into the heart of the monarchy has been filled with tension, patience, and political calculation. Yet despite years of careful rebuilding, Some insiders say questions about her influence within royal affairs have never completely disappeared. Long before she ever stood beside King Charles as Queen Consort, Camilla's story had already become one of the most debated chapters in modern royal history. Her connection to Charles began during a period when the monarchy itself was navigating immense public scrutiny. At the time, the institution depended heavily on tradition, stability, and the public's emotional connection to the royal family. Any disruption to that image could ripple across the entire monarchy. And for years, many observers believed Camilla's presence represented exactly that kind of disruption. The early stages of her relationship with Charles unfolded under a cloud of controversy that would take decades to fade. Public resistance was strong, emotional, and often unforgiving. Royal advisors understood immediately that the monarchy faced a delicate challenge. They could not erase the past, but they could slowly reshape how the public viewed Camilla's role. What followed was a carefully managed effort to rebuild her image piece by piece, appearance by appearance, charity by charity. Over time, those efforts began to work. Camilla gradually stepped into royal duties with a quiet persistence that surprised even some of her critics. Instead of dramatic public statements, she focused on consistent work supporting charitable causes, attending engagements, and demonstrating a willingness to accept the slow, disciplined rhythm of royal life. For many observers, that persistence helped soften the hostility that once surrounded her. Acceptance did not arrive overnight, but it grew steadily with each passing year. Yet acceptance does not always erase every doubt. Even as Camilla's public role became more secure, whispers inside royal circles suggested that some traditionalists remained cautious about her influence. The monarchy is an institution deeply rooted in symbolism, where every public appearance carries historical weight. In such an environment, the question of who represents the crown in key international moments becomes extraordinarily sensitive. Nowhere is that sensitivity more pronounced than within the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is not simply a diplomatic alliance, it is a network of nations connected by a shared history with the British monarchy. For decades, the royal family has treated its role within this organisation with particular care. Every visit, every speech, every symbolic gesture is meant to reinforce the idea that the crown remains a unifying presence across continents. Because of that importance, discussions about who should represent the monarchy at Commonwealth gatherings have always been approached with extreme caution. Some insiders claim that debates over representation have quietly surfaced before, though they rarely reached the point of open disagreement. The monarchy traditionally resolves such matters privately, through quiet consensus rather than visible conflict. But as the monarchy evolves under a new generation of leadership, those conversations may be shifting in subtle ways. The balance between tradition and modernization is becoming increasingly complex, especially when the royal family considers how it presents itself to an international audience. In that delicate balancing act, every decision carries layers of meaning: political, symbolic, and deeply personal. And if those long-standing questions about Camilla's role were already lingering beneath the surface, the upcoming Commonwealth Summit may have brought them sharply into focus. Because when the senior royals gathered to discuss representation for the summit, insiders say those quiet doubts, once carefully contained, suddenly found their way into the center of the conversation. And according to insiders, those quiet doubts may have resurfaced dramatically during the meeting that led to the vote. The meeting reportedly began like many others: routine briefings, diplomatic updates, and preparations for the upcoming Commonwealth Summit. But somewhere during the discussion, the conversation took a dramatic turn. Sources claim concerns were raised about representation, optics, and the monarchy's evolving relationship with Commonwealth nations. Within minutes, what started as a discussion reportedly became a debate that would lead to an extraordinary vote. Inside the palace, gatherings like this are usually measured and predictable. Senior working royals and trusted advisors sit around polished tables, reviewing reports about international relationships and upcoming royal engagements. The Commonwealth Summit, however, is never treated as a routine matter. It carries enormous symbolic weight for the crown. Each detail from the royal delegation to the tone of speeches is examined with careful precision, because the summit represents the monarchy's connection to dozens of nations with complex histories. At first, insiders say the discussion followed its usual course. Diplomatic briefings were presented. Advisors outlined the current political atmosphere within several Commonwealth countries. Some nations had recently begun questioning the future of their constitutional ties to the crown. Others were experiencing internal debates about republican movements. These developments were not entirely unexpected, but they created a delicate environment that demanded careful consideration from the royal household. It was during these briefings that the first subtle concern reportedly emerged. According to sources familiar with the conversation, one advisor raised the issue of international perception. Representation at the summit, the advisor suggested, would be scrutinized more closely than ever before. Every royal presence could carry unintended political symbolism, depending on how it was interpreted by leaders across the Commonwealth. What began as a simple observation quickly sparked deeper discussion. Some participants reportedly argued that the royal delegation should be streamlined, presenting a focused and carefully curated image of the monarchy. Others countered that altering the traditional structure of royal representation might create unnecessary speculation about internal divisions. The debate remained calm at first, but the stakes were becoming increasingly clear. Gradually, the conversation shifted toward the question of who exactly should represent the crown during the summit. That was the moment insiders say Camilla's name entered the discussion directly. Her role as Queen Consort placed her naturally beside King Charles at many major events. Yet some voices in the room reportedly questioned whether her presence would be interpreted differently in certain Commonwealth nations. Those concerns did not immediately dominate the meeting, but they lingered in the air. Advisors began outlining possible diplomatic interpretations. Some warned that political sensitivities abroad could transform even a ceremonial appearance into a subject of debate. Others insisted that excluding Camilla might signal weakness or internal disagreement within the monarchy itself. The discussion was no longer theoretical, it had become intensely strategic. As opinions began to diverge, the atmosphere reportedly grew more tense. Staff members present during the briefing sensed the shift immediately. Conversations that had once been procedural were now layered with emotion and uncertainty. Each comment carried implications not only for the summit, but also for the monarchy's broader image. Eventually, one senior participant reportedly suggested what few expected: a formal vote to resolve the disagreement. Such votes are extremely rare in royal discussions, where consensus and discretion typically guide decisions. Yet on this occasion, insiders claim the room had reached a point where consensus no longer seemed possible. And so the call for a vote was made, transforming what had begun as a routine diplomatic discussion into a moment of extraordinary consequence for the royal household. But the real surprise was not that concerns were raised, it was who reportedly supported the decision. When the vote was finally called, insiders say the room fell silent. One by one, senior royals reportedly gave their positions. Some supported maintaining the traditional delegation. Others argued that the monarchy needed to adapt its representation for the modern Commonwealth. By the time the final vote was counted, the result reportedly stunned even those inside the meeting. Moments like this are rare within the royal household. Decisions involving international representation are usually shaped through quiet consensus rather than open division. But according to those familiar with the meeting, the atmosphere had already shifted beyond quiet agreement. The debate that began with careful diplomatic considerations had grown into something far more complicated, an argument about the monarchy's future direction and the delicate balance between loyalty, symbolism, and global perception. As the vote began, each senior royal reportedly voiced their position with careful restraint. Some argued that tradition should remain intact. For them, the monarchy's strength lies in its continuity. Changing the composition of the royal delegation, they believed, could unintentionally signal instability to Commonwealth nations already questioning their relationship with the crown. Stability, they insisted, must remain the monarchy's most visible message, but others saw the situation differently. A number of younger advisors and royal strategists reportedly urged a more modern approach to representation. The Commonwealth, they argued, is no longer the same network it was decades ago. Many member nations are navigating new political identities and reconsidering their historical ties to the monarchy. In such an environment, every symbol matters. The royal presence at international events must reflect sensitivity to those shifting realities. Within that discussion, Camilla's role became the center of quiet but intense scrutiny. It was not necessarily a question of her personal conduct or commitment to royal duty. Instead, insiders claim the debate focused on perception, how her presence might be interpreted across different Commonwealth nations. Diplomacy, after all, is often about optics as much as substance. Prince William reportedly played a particularly measured role during the conversation. Sources suggest that rather than focusing solely on the immediate controversy, he emphasized the long-term stability of the monarchy. His argument, according to those present, centered on the idea that every decision made today must strengthen the institution for decades to come. That perspective reportedly resonated with several participants, particularly those who view William as a key figure in shaping the monarchy's future direction. Still, the decision was far from unanimous. Some royals reportedly felt deeply uncomfortable supporting the exclusion, even if they understood the diplomatic reasoning behind it. Camilla had spent years rebuilding public trust and establishing herself as a working member of the royal family. To remove her from such a significant event felt, to some, like reopening wounds the monarchy had worked hard to heal. Yet when the final count was completed, the result became clear. The majority supported adjusting the royal delegation, effectively removing Camilla from the summit representation. For a brief moment, insiders say the room remained completely still as everyone absorbed what had just happened. It was not merely a procedural outcome. It was a decision that carried emotional weight, institutional consequences, and personal implications for several members of the royal family. Palace officials immediately recognized the gravity of the moment. Decisions like this rarely stay hidden for long, and the implications would ripple through both private relationships and public perception. Some advisors reportedly began discussing strategies for managing the narrative if rumors of the vote reached the outside world. But inside the palace, attention quickly turned to one unavoidable reality. Because beyond diplomatic strategy and institutional debate, there remained a deeply personal dimension to the outcome, one that would soon place King Charles himself at the center of an emotional crossroads. Yet the most emotionally complicated reaction may have come from one person in particular. For King Charles, the vote reportedly created a deeply personal dilemma. Camilla is not just a royal figure, she is the partner who stood beside him through decades of controversy and criticism. Now, insiders say Charles must navigate the painful reality of balancing his loyalty to her with the institutional pressures of leading the monarchy during a rapidly changing era. To understand the weight of this moment, one must look at the extraordinary history Charles and Camilla share. Their relationship has never been simple, and for much of its early existence it unfolded under intense public scrutiny. The road that eventually led Camilla to stand beside Charles as Queen Consort was long, complicated, and often painful. It was a path shaped by controversy, resilience, and years of careful rebuilding within the royal institution. Through it all, Charles remained unwavering in his loyalty to her, a commitment that endured even when public opinion was at its most unforgiving. Because of that history, insiders say the reported vote struck Charles not merely as a strategic decision, but as something deeply personal. Camilla has been more than a royal partner, she has been a constant presence through some of the most turbulent chapters of his life. From the years of public criticism to the gradual restoration of acceptance that followed, Charles has long viewed her support as a source of strength. Now, as king, he faces the painful reality that the same institution he leads may be placing limits on her role. Palace advisors are said to have approached the situation with extreme caution. Their priority, according to sources, is protecting the stability of the monarchy above all else. Institutions like the Crown survive through careful balancing personal relationships with public expectations, balancing tradition with change. In moments like this, that balance becomes especially fragile. Advisors reportedly reminded the king that decisions about international representation carry diplomatic consequences far beyond personal preference. That advice, however, does not erase the emotional dimension of the situation. Those familiar with the atmosphere inside the palace describe a period of quiet tension as Charles considered his options. Could he challenge the outcome of the vote? Technically, as monarch, he possesses authority that few others within the institution hold. Yet exercising that authority could create the very perception of division the monarchy is trying to avoid. And so the king reportedly finds himself walking a delicate line. On one side stands his lifelong loyalty to Camilla, the woman who has remained beside him through decades of scrutiny and hardship. On the other stands the responsibility he carries as the guardian of the crown, an institution that must remain larger than any single personal relationship. Reconciling those two realities is no simple task. Within palace corridors, the emotional strain of the moment is said to be quietly visible. Staff members who work closely with the royal household reportedly sensed a shift in tone as the implications of the vote settled in. Conversations became more cautious. Meetings stretched longer than usual. Everyone seemed aware that the situation carried consequences extending far beyond a single diplomatic event. At the same time, Charles must consider how the monarchy will address the issue publicly. Silence has long been the royal family's preferred response to internal disagreements. Yet in the modern media environment, silence can sometimes fuel even greater speculation. Every decision the palace makes, from public appearances to official statements, will be scrutinized for signs of how the king truly feels about the situation. And while these questions remain unresolved inside the palace, another challenge has already begun to emerge. Because, as history repeatedly shows, royal secrets rarely stay hidden for long once whispers begin escaping the palace walls. But while the palace struggled with its internal dilemma, rumors of the vote were already beginning to spread outside its walls. Royal secrets rarely stay hidden for long. Within hours of the alleged vote, whispers began circulating among journalists and royal watchers. At first, it sounded unbelievable, senior royals voting to exclude a queen from a major Commonwealth event. But as more fragments of the story surfaced, the possibility of a major royal controversy began to take shape. The first hints reportedly appeared in the quiet corners of royal reporting circles, where seasoned correspondents are trained to notice the smallest shifts in palace activity. A delayed briefing here. An unusual silence from royal aides there. These subtle signals are often the earliest signs that something unusual is unfolding behind palace walls. When several reporters began hearing similar murmurs about a confidential vote involving Queen Camilla, curiosity quickly turned into determined investigation. At first, many journalists hesitated to treat the story seriously. The idea that senior royals had formally voted to exclude the Queen consort from a major diplomatic event sounded almost impossible. Royal protocol traditionally avoids such visible divisions. Decisions are typically handled quietly through consultation and consensus. But as additional whispers reached newsrooms, editors began realizing that this rumor carried an unusual level of consistency. Multiple sources seemed to be describing the same extraordinary moment. Soon the speculation began spreading beyond journalists into the vast digital world of royal watchers and commentators. Social media platforms erupted with questions, theories, and intense debate. Royal enthusiasts dissected every available detail, searching for clues about what might have happened during the palace meeting. Some users pointed to recent changes in royal schedules as possible evidence. Others speculated about tensions that may have been building behind the scenes for months. The involvement of the Commonwealth only intensified global attention. The Commonwealth is not simply a ceremonial alliance, it represents a network of nations whose historical ties to the British monarchy remain politically sensitive. For many of those countries, royal representation carries symbolic meaning. If Camilla were truly excluded from such an event, it could suggest deeper strategic calculations about how the monarchy wishes to present itself internationally. Inside the palace, communications teams reportedly began tracking the situation closely. Their role in moments like this is delicate and precise. On one hand, they must avoid confirming rumors that could escalate the controversy. On the other, they must prepare for the possibility that the story might break publicly at any moment. Palace communication strategies often rely on patience, waiting to see whether speculation fades before it reaches full media momentum. Meanwhile, commentators across television panels and online platforms began debating the credibility of the claims. Some analysts argued that the monarchy has always adapted its diplomatic representation when circumstances demand it. Others insisted that excluding Camilla would represent a dramatic shift in royal dynamics. The debate quickly evolved into something larger than a single rumor. It became a conversation about the future of the monarchy itself. Public reaction also began dividing along familiar lines. Supporters of Camilla questioned the fairness of the alleged decision, pointing to the years she had spent rebuilding her public role within the royal family. Critics, however, suggested that the monarchy might be entering a period of strategic transformation. In their view, decisions about representation could reflect broader plans for how the Crown intends to engage with the modern Commonwealth. As the conversation spread across international headlines, journalists from multiple countries began investigating the story with growing urgency. Every reporter understood the same reality. If the rumors proved true, the decision could represent one of the most surprising internal developments within the monarchy in recent years. Yet, according to insiders, the decision may have been less about Camilla herself and more about the future direction of the monarchy. Some royal observers believe the vote reflects something much larger than one diplomatic trip. Instead, they see it as part of a quiet effort to reshape how the monarchy presents itself on the global stage. As younger royals prepare to guide the institution into the future, decisions like this may reveal a new strategy unfolding behind palace doors. For generations, the British monarchy has survived by adapting to the world around it, often in ways that unfold gradually and almost invisibly. Major transformations rarely appear overnight. Instead, they emerge through a series of subtle choices, changes in tone, shifts in representation, carefully calibrated decisions that signal how the institution intends to move forward. Some analysts believe the alleged vote concerning Camilla may represent exactly that kind of turning point. At the center of those discussions is the growing influence of Prince William. As the future king, William has increasingly become a central figure in shaping the monarchy's long-term direction. Those who observe royal strategy closely often describe him as deeply aware that the institution must evolve if it hopes to remain relevant to younger generations and modern societies. While respecting tradition remains essential, adaptation has become equally important. In diplomatic settings like the Commonwealth Summit, that balance becomes especially delicate. The Commonwealth today is not the same organization it was decades ago. Several member nations have openly debated their constitutional ties to the Crown, and others are redefining their national identities within a rapidly changing global landscape. For the monarchy, every appearance at such gatherings carries symbolic weight. Representation must communicate stability while also acknowledging the realities of a modern international community. That reality has reportedly encouraged a growing conversation within royal circles about simplifying how the monarchy presents itself abroad. Rather than sending large delegations or multiple senior figures, some advisors believe the institution should focus on a more streamlined approach. Fewer representatives, clearer messaging, and carefully chosen appearances could help ensure that the monarchy's diplomatic presence remains focused and effective. Younger royal advisors have reportedly been among the strongest advocates for this approach. Many of them grew up watching the monarchy navigate intense media scrutiny and shifting public expectations. They understand that symbolic gestures, who attends an event, who speaks, who stands beside the monarch can carry enormous political meaning. In an era where images and headlines travel instantly around the world, even the smallest decisions can shape global perceptions. From this perspective, the alleged vote may not simply be about Camilla at all. Instead, it could represent part of a broader strategy to redefine how the monarchy operates on the international stage. Strategic representation, careful symbolism, and diplomatic awareness are becoming increasingly important as the Crown prepares for the next generation of leadership. That long-term preparation is something palace insiders say has quietly accelerated in recent years. As William and other younger royals take on more responsibility, discussions about the monarchy's future structure have reportedly become more frequent. How many senior royals should represent the Crown? Which figures resonate most strongly with international audiences? How should the monarchy adapt to changing political landscapes? Each of these questions forms part of a much larger puzzle about the monarchy's future. Institutions that endure for centuries must constantly recalibrate themselves without appearing to abandon tradition. It is a delicate process, requiring both patience and careful planning. And if the decision surrounding the Commonwealth Summit truly reflects that kind of strategic recalibration, then the moment may represent more than a simple scheduling adjustment. It could be one of the early signals that the monarchy is quietly preparing for a new era, one shaped by different priorities, new leadership dynamics, and a changing global audience. And if that interpretation is correct, the consequences of the vote could extend far beyond one summit. The Commonwealth Summit is more than a ceremonial gathering. It is a moment when the monarchy's global influence is on display. Leaders from dozens of nations will be watching closely. If the rumours of Camilla's exclusion prove true, it could signal a shift not just inside the royal family, but in how the Crown approaches its relationship with the modern Commonwealth. For decades, the Commonwealth has stood as one of the most important diplomatic bridges connecting the British monarchy to nations spread across every continent. While political power no longer rests with the Crown, symbolism still matters. The presence of senior royals at Commonwealth gatherings carries enormous weight. It communicates continuity, partnership, and shared history. Every speech, every handshake, every carefully chosen appearance becomes part of a larger message about how the monarchy sees its role in the world. That is why the possibility of Camilla's absence has captured such intense attention among royal observers. In diplomatic environments, who attends can be as significant as what is said. A royal figure appearing at an international summit is never merely ceremonial. It represents the Crown itself. And when one expected figure is suddenly missing from the delegation, the silence surrounding that absence can become louder than any official statement. The modern Commonwealth itself is undergoing profound transformation. Many member nations have been reassessing their constitutional ties to the monarchy. Some have debated becoming republics. Others are redefining their place within the organization while maintaining diplomatic relationships with the Crown. As these conversations unfold, the monarchy faces the challenge of remaining a unifying symbol without appearing disconnected from the evolving realities of its member states. Within that delicate balance, representation becomes a strategic decision. Royal advisors understand that every gesture made at a Commonwealth gathering will be analysed not just by the media, but by political leaders, historians, and millions of citizens across the world. The composition of the royal delegation must communicate sensitivity, awareness, and adaptability. Even subtle changes can be interpreted as signals about how the monarchy intends to navigate the future. That is where the alleged vote begins to take on international significance. If senior royals truly decided to adjust the delegation for the summit, the reasoning may extend far beyond internal palace dynamics. Instead, the decision could reflect an effort to present the monarchy in a way that resonates with a modern global audience, an audience increasingly attentive to symbolism, historical context, and evolving political relationships. Royal advisors are reportedly aware that reactions from Commonwealth leaders could vary widely. Some nations may interpret the move as evidence that the monarchy is carefully considering its diplomatic role. Others might view it as a sign of internal uncertainty. In international politics, perception often matters just as much as reality, and the monarchy has long understood the power of carefully managed appearances. Behind palace walls, communication teams would almost certainly be preparing for every possible interpretation. Diplomats and advisors must anticipate how headlines will frame the decision, how commentators will analyze it, and how foreign governments may respond. In the age of instant global media, narratives can spread rapidly, and controlling the message becomes an essential part of maintaining stability. At the same time, the summit itself is expected to address issues far larger than royal representation. Climate change, economic development, regional security, and international cooperation are all likely to dominate the discussions. Yet even within those serious policy conversations, the symbolic presence or absence of key royal figures may quietly shape how the event is perceived. That tension between diplomacy and symbolism is something the monarchy has navigated for generations. The crown does not legislate policy, but its presence carries historical meaning that can influence how relationships are perceived and remembered. Each summit becomes another chapter in the evolving story of the Commonwealth and the monarchy's place within it. And if the rumours surrounding Camilla's exclusion continue to circulate, the summit may become more than a diplomatic gathering. It could become a moment when the world begins asking new questions about how the monarchy intends to present itself to a rapidly changing international community. Yet the final impact of this decision may not be measured by diplomacy alone. In royal history, some decisions quietly fade away, others reshape the balance of power within the monarchy itself. If senior royals truly voted to exclude Camilla from the Commonwealth Summit, historians may one day view it as a moment when the internal dynamics of the royal family shifted dramatically. Because behind every vote lies a deeper question about who truly guides the future of the crown. For centuries, the British monarchy has survived by constantly redefining where authority truly lies. Officially, power always appears to flow through the sovereign. Yet within palace walls, influence has often moved in quieter ways through alliances, trusted advisors, and moments of collective decision that reveal how the institution really operates. A single meeting, a single vote, can sometimes expose the invisible architecture holding the monarchy together. If the reported decision regarding Camilla did indeed unfold as insiders claim, it may reveal that the balance of influence inside the royal household is evolving faster than many observers realize. The monarchy today exists in a world very different from the one that shaped previous generations. Public scrutiny is relentless. Global politics are shifting. Expectations of transparency and accountability continue to rise. In such an environment, every royal figure becomes part of a larger strategic calculation. Within that landscape, Prince William's growing presence cannot be ignored. As heir to the throne, his influence is naturally expanding, but insiders often describe something more than simple succession. They speak of a gradual shift in leadership style, a younger generation quietly stepping forward, thinking about the monarchy not only as an ancient institution, but as a modern one that must adapt if it hopes to endure. Decisions like the alleged vote may reflect that long-term thinking. For King Charles, this moment represents a delicate balancing act. His reign began with promises of continuity, stability, and respect for the traditions that shaped the crown. Yet he is also aware that the monarchy must remain flexible enough to navigate the expectations of a changing world. Balancing loyalty to Camilla with the institutional needs of the crown places him in a position few monarchs have faced before, a personal relationship intertwined with the political evolution of the royal family itself. Camilla's own journey adds another layer to the story. Her path into the monarchy was never simple. Years of public controversy eventually gave way to acceptance, and through patience and carefully managed appearances, she became an established figure beside Charles. Yet moments like this remind observers that acceptance inside the monarchy is not always permanent. Roles can evolve. Expectations can shift. Even a queen consort may find her position subtly redefined by the forces shaping the institution. Royal historians will likely examine such moments with intense curiosity. They understand that the monarchy rarely announces its internal transformations directly. Instead, changes reveal themselves through small but meaningful events: who attends an international summit, who speaks for the crown, who holds influence when critical decisions are made. Each of those details forms part of a broader narrative about how power moves within the royal household. At the same time, the monarchy has always been remarkably resilient. Through wars, political upheavals, public criticism, and cultural change, it has repeatedly found ways to reinvent itself without appearing to abandon its traditions. That ability to adapt while preserving continuity has been the Crown's greatest strength. Moments of tension, even moments of controversy, often become catalysts for the next phase of transformation. If the alleged vote truly marks such a moment, it may one day be remembered as part of a larger shift already underway. A shift toward new leadership dynamics, a shift toward a monarchy shaped increasingly by the generation that will guide it into the future. Yet, like so many royal stories, the full truth may remain hidden behind layers of privacy, diplomacy, and carefully guarded palace doors. And if a single vote could alter the role of a queen, it leaves one haunting question hanging in the air: what other decisions might the monarchy be preparing to make behind closed palace doors? Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.